Today we're going to work on section 3.6, which is using cross products in order to solve proportions. Reminder on the cross products property, when you have a proportion set up, it's two ratios that are equal to one another, where we can say the numerator of one ratio times the denominator of the other ratio is one side, is a cross product, it's one side of our equation, and then we have the denominator of one ratio with the numerator of the other ratio, and that is the other side of our equation. Their cross products are equal to each other. Let's do this in a problem where we can see it happening with the information given up here. We are going to multiply our cross products. So we have 3 times x minus 4 equal to, on the other set of cross products, is 9 times x. That means that we're going to do a little distributive property here. 3x minus 12 is equal to 9x. We want to move our variables all to one side, constant on the other, like we were doing earlier in our different sections we've worked on before. So that means that I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides and have negative 12 equals 6x. And now we're down to a one-step equation where we can divide by 6 on both sides and have x equal to a negative 2. Look at that. That's one of the answers that we're supposed to have. I've shown my work in order to come up with it. Perhaps you were thinking, can I take that problem and divide by 3 first on both sides? Yes, legally you can do that because the 3 is on the outside being multiplied by that x minus 4. So that would leave us x minus 4 equals 3x. And here we still want to move our x's all over to the right side so that we have negative 4 equals 2x. And when we divide by 2 on both sides, we still get negative 2 equals x. The answer hasn't changed, just that the numbers are a little bit smaller because we did the division right away. Let's go into a story problem. George is making her own potting soil, and for every 4 buckets of peat moss, she mixes in 3 buckets of perlite. Suppose she uses 10 buckets of peat moss. How many buckets of perlite should she use? Write and solve a proportion to find the answer. As we look at this information, we see that for every 4 buckets of peat moss, there are 3 buckets of perlite. Those two items go together. 4 buckets of peat moss and 3 buckets of perlite. I'm going to give little labels there to help me out. On the other side of our proportion, we have to have another ratio. She uses 10 buckets of peat moss. Well, that 10 buckets of peat moss needs to go in the numerator because that's where we have the peat moss on the other ratio. We have to find out how many buckets of perlite she's going to use. So therefore, that x is in the denominator. Now, could I have written this as 3 over 4 equals x over 10? Absolutely. Notice that's just flipping the proportion upside down. The cross products are still the same between the two. What I cannot do is I cannot have 3 over 4 and 10 over x. There I do not have the units in the same place. So we don't want to use that proportion. It's set up incorrectly. So let's start looking at our cross products. We're going to take the 4 times the x and the 3 times the 10, and 3 times 10 is 30. If you know that, you can go ahead and jump straight to the 4x equals 30. That's fine. Then let's divide by 4 on both sides. X is equal to, we have to take 30 divided by 4, and if you want to use your calculator, you sure can, 7.5 buckets. Buckets of what? Buckets of perlite. Since we have 2 different kinds of buckets, we got perlite and peat moss. Make sure you put perlite on there. Thank you. On a map, the distance between Red River Gorge and Pine Bluff is 3.8 centimeters. If the map scale is 1 centimeter equals 25 kilometers, estimate the actual distance between Red River Gorge and Pine Bluff. They have given us a ratio. So let that ratio start your proportion. 1 centimeter over 25 kilometers equals. We know that we need centimeters on top. We know we need kilometers on the bottom. What else are we given? We're given 3.8 centimeters, and we're supposed to find the actual distance. So that means we're going to put that 3.8 centimeters in the top and x in our denominator. Now we can go through and do our cross products. We can start right out here with our 25 times 3.8 equal to 1 times x. Well, 1 times x is x. What is 25 times 3.8? It's 95. It's going to be 95 kilometers. That is the distance that is being shown on the map. That's the distance for the real thing. Now they say estimate up here. That does not mean in this problem that you're going to do any rounding. Please don't round that to 100. Estimate here means that we are using a proportion that we measured to 3.8 centimeters. Did we measure accurately? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it was 3.81 centimeters, which means that would our 95 kilometers be exact if we went out and measured it by hand? Possibly, possibly not. It's going to be close to 95. Estimating here is saying just use the numbers that we have, and we know that the distance will be close to that amount. Please go ahead and do some problems out of your textbook. You can stop the video, and I'll have the answers for you afterwards. We worked on these in class, give people practice solving some proportions, solving some story problems. So stop the video here, do these problems, because here come the answers. Here are the answers for the first problems. And I've got answers for the next ones. Here they come. If you have questions on any of these or any of the information from homework, please make sure to come in and talk to me. Thank you.